Stop me if you heard this before. The Atlanta Falcons lose yet again, and this time to the New York Jets. But I'm also going to talk about why I believe Bijan Robinson's greatness is totally wasted on this trash franchise. But before I get started on that, I want to tell you guys to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. And tell a friend, tell a family member, tell whoever to support my channel. And yes, the Atlanta Falcons lose yet again. This time to the 2-9 New York Jets. I guess they're now 3-9 now since they won. But yes, the Atlanta Falcons did lose to that team, the New York Jets. And yeah, I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, the Atlanta Falcons did what they always do. Something that they've done for years, for most of my existence. Especially in particular, what the Atlanta Falcons have done for the better part of 8 years. They eat, they sleep, they breathe, and they lose. And that's what the Atlanta Falcons have done. It's what they did that's what they did yesterday to the New York Jets. They lose yet again. And I mean, what else is there? Like I said, the Atlanta Falcons, if there's one thing that the Atlanta Falcons do better than any team in all of professional sports, they'll find a way to lose a game. They just do. They find ways to lose games. And this time, the Atlanta Falcons lost to the Jets. Now look, I think all three phases have some part of the blame in this loss. But if you want to look at the number one reason why the Falcons lost to the Jets, it's because of their special teams. And their special teams, the Atlanta Falcons special teams has been horrible. It's been horrific, to say the least. And that was on full display against the Jets when you had the returner, the punt returner fumble the ball, in which the Jets end up picking the ball up at the one and they score a touchdown. And so you get this Jets score a touchdown off a fumble. You know, they have a couple of long kickoff returns that sets the Jets up for shorter field position, in which they were able to kick a field goal on a couple of them. And I think they also scored another touchdown on a short field. And so you got the special teams for the Falcons was horrible all day. And also we can't forget about our kicking issues that we've had all year. You know, we had a kicker miss a field goal badly. It went wide right. And so we've had kicking problems. We've had coverage, special teams coverage problems, in which we allow returners to go long yards off punt and kickoff returns. And again, we had a fumble. You had a kickoff returner, fumble the ball. I mean, it's just inexcusable. And yet, and look, I don't know who the Atlanta Falcons special teams coach is, but he needs to be fired along with everybody else on his coaching staff. He needs to go, absolutely. And hopefully he gets the pink slip soon. And so you're losing games because of bad special teams. And look, the defense I thought played well enough, and I thought the offense did some good things, but they're not off the hook either. You look at the defense. You're up 24-17, right? And the defense has a chance to get a stop against a moribund New York Jets team. And yet you allow the Jets to score a touchdown to tie the game. And so the defense, even though you look at the statistics and you say that the defense held the Jets to, 286 yards overall, so they were under 300 yards of total offense. You created some pressure on the quarterback. Jalen Walker and James Pierce have been excellent, and I thought both of them had their impact in this game. And so the defense did some good things, but when it mattered the most, they couldn't get a stop. And that's kind of been a theme lately with the defense. Like you look at the statistics, you look at the fact that the Falcons are getting after the quarterback. They've had 5+ sack games and all of that stuff, even though they didn't have that as many yesterday. But the defense is doing their thing. and they can't get a stop when it mattered. They didn't get a stop when it mattered against the Colts. They didn't get a stop when it mattered against the Patriots. They didn't get a stop when it mattered against the Panthers. And so they didn't get a stop when it mattered against the Jets. And you look at the offensive side of the ball, Kirk Cousins, I thought he was okay. He wasn't like terrible, but he wasn't great. And I also thought late in that game, the receivers let him down. And look, man, for the love of God, the Atlanta Falcons need a legitimate receiver opposite Drake London, because the receivers that we have out there right now are just putrid. I don't know what's happened with Darnell Mooney. I mean, can we get an APB out for this dude? Because he's non-existent. He's not making plays. He dropped the key ball. I think he's air mailed the ball when he thought he was going to get hit. He's done nothing for this team. All the other backup receivers that the Falcons have done nothing. I mean, Casey Washington is getting DNPs when the Falcons had high hopes for this dude. And so that's yet another misstep for the Atlanta Falcons. Color me shocked on that one, folks. The Falcons actually making bad evaluations on personnel. Yeah. Yeah, so like I said, man, like there's the number one thing the Falcons have to do this offseason. Like, you got to get a receiver opposite Drake London. It's just specifically a guy that has some speed. And so that's a weak spot on the team. And yet, I look at Bijan Robinson, 22 carries for 142 yards, averaging 6.2 yards a carry. I read a stat that he had 193 yards, all-purpose yards of total offense, and that was the second highest of his career. Like, he was just running all over the Jets, catching, running, breaking tackles, doing juke moves, spin moves, everything. And yet it didn't matter because the Atlanta Falcons ended up losing the game. And it brings me to the point that I want to make. Bijan Robinson's greatness is just totally wasted here. It's wasted for this. It's wasted on the Atlanta Falcons. Bijan Robinson deserves so much more, so much better than the Atlanta Falcons. He doesn't need to be stuck with this losing stench that the Falcons have placed upon him. Bijan Robinson deserves better than the Atlanta Falcons. He's the best running back in football still. I know there's been running backs in the league that's maybe had better statistical years, but for my money, if you're asking me who I believe is the best running back in football, it's Bijan Robinson. And there's not many running backs that can catch the ball out of the backfield, run routes, run through the hole, make people miss, run with speed, power, agility, all of it. Bijan Robinson is the most complete back in football, and he deserves so much better than these Atlanta Falcons. He needs to be on a real team. He needs to be on a serious team. He needs to be on a team with a real quarterback. Imagine Bijan Robinson on the LA Rams. Imagine Bijan Robinson on the Buffalo Bills. Imagine Bijan Robinson on the Denver Broncos. The guy will get much more recognition than he gets right now for this loser franchise known as the Atlanta Falcons. He is so great, so incredible. Imagine Bijan Robinson on the Dallas Cowboys. Y'all see what the Dallas Cowboys have on offense? With Dak Prescott throwing the football, and you have CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. Imagine Bijan Robinson with that offense in Dallas, Texas. It would be a freaking show. Bijan Robinson needs that, man. And he don't have it with the Falcons. He just doesn't. It is a mess when it comes to the Atlanta Falcons. And it makes me sad that Bijan Robinson in all likelihood is probably going to be stuck playing for this Moribund franchise for the next 2, 3, maybe 4 years. And all the Falcons are just going to continue to do is lose, eat, sleep, breathe, losing, eat, sleep, breathe, losing, eat, sleep, breathe, losing. That should be the new Atlanta Falcons slogan. I've been saying it for weeks, and I'm going to keep saying it. The new Atlanta Falcons slogan is eat, sleep, breathe, losing. Because it's what they do. And unfortunately, Bijan Robinson is stuck with this loser stench on his body. Because it's just what the Atlanta Falcons do. And if I were Bijan Robinson, I'm frustrated, man. Because I know I'm giving everything I got. I know I'm giving everything out on the field. And I'm not getting the results because I'm just stuck with a bunch of losers. Not just on my team, but with the organization. Because the organization don't know what the heck they doing building this team out. It's a mess, man. It really, really, really is a mess right now. And I feel bad for Bijan Robinson. And quite frankly, look, man, the Atlanta Falcons are losing to the New York Jets. The Jets! I mean, if that ain't a sign that everybody in this franchise need to go, I don't know what else. I don't know what else they need to do. Because I've had look, man, Terry Fontenot, the general manager, needs to go. Raheem Morris, the head coach, needs to go. Zach Robinson, the offensive coordinator, needs to go. Clean house. And if wherever the new coach comes in and he wants the Jeff Ulbrich, the defensive coordinator, if he wants him out of here, fine. Get him out of here too. This team needs to clean house. Get everybody that's associated, that's been with this regime for the past 5 years, get all of them out the building. Fire everybody. Because this team just needs to clean house. It needs to clean house. This team is just losers. They're losers. And unfortunately, when you look at the Falcons' history, if you take away the 2008 to 2012 years under Matt Ryan and Thomas Dimitroff, and you got 2016, we obviously had that Super Bowl year. And they've had a couple of blips, 2004 year with Mike Vick. For the most part, if you take away about a good 6 years out of the past 20 to 30 years of this franchise's existence, the Atlanta Falcons' existence, this team's just been a loser franchise, man. They're just losers. And they eat, sleep, breathe it. And unfortunately, I just think it's going to continue. I don't know what else to say, man. And look, the Falcons there's some things about the Falcons that are encouraging. The defensive side of the ball, this team got finally, after being so bad on defense for almost 2 decades, the Falcons actually have some talent on defense, right? Jalen Walker's looking like a stud. James Pierce is making progress. Both players have 5 sacks. You got Dorless, the defensive tackle. He's looking like a stud. Devon Diablo is a good player. He came back. You got him. You got Caden Ellis. AJ Terrell. Jesse Bates. This defense got some talent, man. And yet, is often not, because offensively, we don't have a quarterback. And unfortunately, the Falcons are in the same place they are in 2025, exactly where they were in 2021. You don't have a quarterback. And the Falcons inexplicably thought it was smart for them to pay Kirk Cousins $100+ million guaranteed. And then you draft Michael Penix, who had injury problems, had 2 ACLs injuries. And now he has a 3rd ACL injury. And he also injured his knee before he injured his ACL. So he's just an injury-prone quarterback. And so I don't know how you can look at this franchise and just say, man, we got a quarterback. We still don't have a quarterback. We don't have a quarterback solution. We don't have another wide receiver opposite Drake London. Kyle Pitts, while he's at best, he's just okay. But you drafted him 4th overall when you passed up on a bunch of great players like Micah Parsons and what's the man from Cincinnati? I can't remember his name. I'm losing my train of thought. Jamar Chase and amongst others. And so you passed up on some talent for Kyle Pitts. I mean, like I said, man, this team's done a lot wrong. And you look at this team, man, like you don't have a quarterback. You don't have reliable receivers opposite Drake London. Offensive line is getting a little old. Jake Matthews is getting a little old. You don't know about your right tackle situation. And then on top of that, even if the Falcons do fire Raheem Morris, you trust him to get the Nets head coach right? Because the last time the Falcons had a good head coach, it was Mike Smith. That's 10 years ago. And so we all know the Falcons going to pick the wrong guy, whoever they hire to be their Nets head coach. General manager, you trust the Falcons to get that right? It's a lot of uncertainty with this team. And as I've said before, man, the Arthur Blank is just listening to the wrong people. He don't know what's up, man. He ain't making good decisions. And it's been that way for years. And unfortunately, I think it's going to continue. Because why should I have confidence that the Falcons are going to do the right things and they're going to make the right choices and they're going to hire the right people? Because everything they've done has been wrong. And everything that they've done equates to losing. And that's what the Atlanta Falcons are committed to. They eat, they sleep, they breathe, and they lose. Their new slogan, instead of it being Rise Up, the Atlanta Falcons' new slogan should be Eat, Sleep, Breathe, Losing. Because it's what they do. And somebody like Bijan Robinson deserves so much better than what these Atlanta Falcons have given them. It's unfortunate, man. It's truly unfortunate. Bijan Robinson is too great. He's too special. He's too generational of a player for him to be associated with these losers known as the Atlanta Falcons. It really is. And my advice to Falcon fans watching this channel right now, I want to give you a helping hand. All right. Don't waste your energy with these Atlanta Falcons. They ain't worth the trouble. They're not worth the trouble. The Atlanta Falcons are not worth the energy. They're not worth the stress. They've shown us their true colors for quite some time. They eat, sleep, breathe losing. It's what they do. And instead of wasting your energy with these Atlanta Falcons, I want you Falcon fans that live in Atlanta, Georgia, to focus your energy on the Atlanta Hawks. Because you've seen what the Atlanta Hawks are doing right now. As I'm recording, they're 13-8. They're top 5 in the Eastern Conference. They're winning games without Ice Trae Young. Jalen Johnson looking like not just an all-star. He might be looking like an all-NBA player. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has been a supreme addition to this team. Surprise addition, averaging 20 a game. Onyeka Conwell's looking like a stud, balling, hitting threes. And the Atlanta Hawks, they have something that the Atlanta Falcons don't have. They have a bright future. And they also have something that the Atlanta Falcons don't have. They actually have a winning attitude. They actually have a winning mentality. They actually are operating like an organization that actually embraces winning. And also, by the way, it also does help that they have that New Orleans Pelicans pick, too. And y'all know the New Orleans Pelicans are trash right now. They're 3-18. But that's another story for another day. But my message to Atlanta Falcon fans that live in Atlanta, Georgia, don't waste your energy on this team, man. They ain't worth it. Focus your energy on the Atlanta Hawks, the basketball team. A team that actually is worth your time investing in. Because they actually are committed to winning. And they actually are doing the right things. And they actually have a young, exciting team that you can get behind. And so, focus your energy on the Atlanta Hawks. They're actually worth your time. Because when it comes to these Atlanta Falcons, man, it bears repeating, man. The Atlanta Falcons are committed to one thing. They eat, sleep, breathe, losing. And Bijan Robinson deserves much better than what he's been given to him by this loser franchise. That's all I got. And I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Peace.